To address these issues inclusively, we must infuse the world's political and economic power structures with moral, spiritual, and religious values. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Very good afternoon. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Shalom, salam sejahtera bagi kita semua. Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, salam kebajikan. Honorable guests, excellencies, and ladies and gentlemen. Today, I do believe history is being made as governments, religious institutions, civil society, and business actors have gathered to take concrete actions and fight against global challenges that affect everyone, regardless of race, religion, creed, or association. Before we move on, let me first introduce myself. My name is Arshad Rashid, and I'm the chairman of the Indonesian Chamber of Commerce and Industry, the sole organizations mandated by the Indonesian law to represent the business community in Indonesia. And apart from that, we are also the host of the Business 20 Engagement Group of the G20. Today, I've been asked to speak on a topic that I really firmly believe in: how religious values are beneficial to spur inclusive economic growth. For religious believers, deep-rooted religious values are what move us, our core, our guiding principles of how we act and behave. It is more important now than ever to rely on and keep our values in check to address current global challenges. It's been 2 years since the pandemic began. Even though the Indonesian economy is recovering and growing at a rate of 5.4% in the second quarter of 2022, or this year, we still need to maintain vigilance as we are currently experiencing a fundamental shift in the global economy, as volatility, uncertainty, and climate crisis continue to worsen. To prepare for these challenges, Indonesia G20 presidency has come up with the 3 priorities issues to address, namely global healthcare architectures, the digital transformation, and also sustainable energy transition. However, the striving for these ideals come with its own problems. For example, the priority for health architectures strive for strengthen a global health system so the world is ready to face the next pandemic. However, in reality, as we saw during the last pandemic, vaccine inequity is real threat to realizing this goal. The rich had more capital to expedite research, manufacturing, and rolling out of vaccines, while poor economies were lagging and were left to survive on their own. On digital transformation and sustainable energy transition are a double-edged sword. First, it has the ability to empower millions of people through technology, but on the other hand, it will erode the necessities for a lot of jobs that are going to be replaced by machinery and automation. McKinsey latest report states that 30% of the global workers could be displaced by automation by the year 2030. The same goes for energy transition. For those who are currently working for the lucrative, extractive fossil economy, the green transition will render their expertise and skill obsolete due to the green economy. To address these issues inclusively, we must infuse the world's political and economic power structures with moral, spiritual, and religious values. Upon looking at many religions, the common threads for all religion is that it teaches compassion and love to humankind. For example, the golden rule exists in all major world religions. Christianity, for the entire law is fulfilled in keeping this one command: love your neighbor as yourself. In Buddhism, whatever is disagreeable to yourself, do not unto others. Islam, none of you will believe until you love for your brother what you love for yourself. Confucianism, do not do others what you do not want them to do to you. Hinduism, this is the sum of duty. Do not unto others which would cause you pain if done to you. As diverse and multi-religious country, Indonesia has developed a system of economic development and empowerment that infuses religious values. Traditional values such as, in Indonesia we call it gotong royong, inclusive collaboration, and Bhinneka Tunggal Ika, unity in diversity, are the core values for Indonesia and Indonesians. This concept is unique to us, and we must hold to it for equitable and just economic development. These values should inform our policy making, and solidarity is at the heart of our life experiences. These values enable us to move away from a growth at all costs model to a leave no one behind model of the economy, and this acknowledging the just transition are indispensable tool in this shift. We are united in our affirmation that a move towards a sustainable future cannot be made at the expense of the poor and vulnerable. A just transition is thus about making sure that everyone affected can have their say. No one is left behind by designing policies that do not introduce new hardship and deepen inequalities. To translate it to a global setting, I like to introduce the concept of 5 Ps. Peace, prosperity, people, planet, and partnership. An inclusive development framework. Peace, the prerequisite to any stability. Without peace, Any other efforts are futile. Prosperity. This contributes to the realization of peace, putting an end to social and economic disparity, minimizes the chance for conflicts rooted in disparities and inequalities. People's development skills. The autonomy as individuals contribute to life satisfaction, economic development, and prosperity. Planet. Preservation of the planet ensures the longevity and health of the people. Partnership. Inclusive collaboration can expedite the global world in achieving all the other peace without leaving anyone behind. In this opportunity, I would like to ask this forum to first support and amplify the pressing need for global partnership and international solidarity. As the earth is one, but the world is not. Each country has shortcomings, especially emerging economies that run on limited resources. Efforts undertaken in isolation no longer work in the enormity and expense of the problems involved. Just transition requires a change of mindset in how decisions are made and how actions are taken to recover and rediscover the time-honored common values of humanity, such as solidarity, human dignity, social inclusivity, and economic equity, while striving towards an environmentally sustainable economy. The framework for a just and inclusive economy is there. Now, it is the duty of thought leaders and religious clerics to urge government leaders and their congregation to put it into practice. Now, you might ask the question, how to put all this aspiration into tangible programs? What are the paths forward? First, robust social protection systems, including public health and education, are needed to boost the economic and climate resilience of disadvantaged groups such as women, indigenous groups, migrants, and youth. Second, cross-border capacity building at many different levels. In addition to the expanded access to public education and vocational training, efforts should target institutions from research organizations and think tanks, where research and development should be fomented with sustainability in mind. To government bodies to strengthen the capacity to design, implement, and monitor just transition process or policies. Increase the frequency of North-South dialogues around the topic of global solidarity for a just transition to develop a cooperation framework in addressing the displacement as rich countries transition away from the fossil fuels. So the Global South can respond strategically to the impact of the transition. Financing for the development, the last but not least, which requires commitments from developed countries to support international development and climate financing in emerging economies. Lastly, I would like to say that The world needs more interfaith dialogue platforms, such as this R20. And we have to make this R20 as permanent forum of all G20s in the futures. Why? It is because to realize inclusive economic growth and foster tolerance among religious devotees. Remember, the economy is not about metrics and valuations. It is about people's prosperity and the planet's continuity, while maintaining world peace through forging global solidarity and partnership. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.